Hi friends, in the last class we have seen income recognition principles. Today we are looking at accounting for investment. The board of directors of every non-banking financial company shall frame investment policy for the company and implement the same. The criteria to classify the investments into current and long-term investments shall be spelled out by the board of the company in the investment policy. Investment in securities shall be classified into current and long-term at the time of making each investment. I think you all are aware whenever investment you talk about, it can be current investment or long-term investments. Okay, so I'm giving a brief idea here, brief picture. So here I am starting with the accounting for investments. Today's class, first I am starting with accounting for investments. Here I am starting with classification. Classification. Investments in securities shall be classified into A, current investment, B, long-term investments. Okay. Investments in securities shall be classified into A, current investments, B, long-term investments. Now let us look at current investment. I think I need not tell you about the meaning of current investments. You learned in investment accounting topic in as per AS 13 in investment accounts group 1. What is current investment? An investment which is by its nature readily realizable and is intended to be held for not more than 1 year from the date on which such investment is made. So simple words, what is current investment? Here, if you look at the meaning, current investment means, this is all theory stuff, my dear friends. Whatever I am talking about is a theory stuff. Current investment means you can relax and listen to this. No need to worry about it. Since it is there in the material, whatever is being there in material, every chapter, any subject, you can't say is important. As a professional student, you are supposed to know each and everything. You need to have an idea of it. So no need to worry about it. There are some chapters which needs bit of understanding, bit of seriousness, bit of interest, and there are some chapters like it is like a speed breakers. You need to wait there, you need to slowly cross, you need to wait and you need to understand, study, then revise it. So I've been telling you theory part. Why we have been doing it, why we have been discussing about these things is that, okay, this is the outcome of the chapter, the point wise that has been mentioned. If for everything, I don't know the reason for why they have not framed problems, but the topic is more of theory oriented. The reason is that bank accounts you have learned it, no? So that is the reason why only few things have been taken, which is something which is different from others, but or else whatever the procedure aspect or the calculation of provision or calculation of identifying NPA, classification of assets, almost same. So but main points have been again been taken, whatever the main issues, main key points, I think that has been addressed here. But remaining theory, whatever you got some uniqueness of this, and that has been covered. That is why we are discussing it. Current investment means an investment which is by its nature readily available. Readily available. Readily realizable, sorry, I mean to say. Readily realizable. Readily realizable and is intended to be held for not more than 1 year. For not more than 1 year from the date on which such investment is made. Such investment is made. Okay. Now let us look at we have seen current investment meaning. Then let us look at the valuation. Okay. When you talk about valuation, simple words, you learn in investment account chapter, current investment shall be valued at cost or market value, whichever is lower. Current investment shall be valued at cost or market value, which is lower. Clear? This is an important point. Here when we talk about current investment, valuation is about quoted, for valuation purpose, here I am writing for valuation purpose. You know, quoted means it's quoted in stock exchange. For valuation purpose, quoted current investment quoted current investment for the purpose of valuation, be grouped as follows. Be grouped as follows. What is that grouping, sir? It is like equity, preference, and equity shares, preference shares, debentures and bonds, government securities, including treasury bills. Sir, what do you mean by treasury bills or others? Just for information, I am giving you might have learned this. These are government bonds issued. These are government bonds issued with a maturity period of less than 1 year. Treasury bills are government bonds issued with a maturity period of less than 1 year is called as treasury bills. Okay. So this is what all about your current investment. It is current investment is valued at cost price or market price, whichever is lower. Okay. Then comes. But however, I think there's a bit of explanation. I think let me give you. No need to copy down. Each category of such investment shall be valued at scrip wise. Each category of investment, like equity shares, scrip wise. You learned scrip wise calculations, scrip wise account we used to open. Redeem preference equity shares of so and so company. Equity shares of Sundar company, equity shares of XYZ company, like that. Each scrip wise we need to open. And depreciation or appreciation be aggregated under each category. Means there is a decrease in the value of asset or increase in the value of asset, and such depreciation, if any, for each category of investment shall be provided or charged to P&L account. But there is a appreciation, it shall be ignored. Okay, this is what is all about. A brief point that has been given, even study material also. So each scrip you need to maintain a separate. Each scrip is to be valued separately. So cost price or market value, whichever is lower. Decrease in the value of is like a depreciation. Increase in the value of investment is like a appreciation. This is first point. In current investment, I have started with for valuation purpose of quoted current investment for purpose of valuation. Then again, unquoted shares. We have seen about quoted shares. Now we are seeing about unquoted shares. Unquoted equity shares. Let me give few things. Then unquoted preference shares. Next, investments in unquoted government securities. Unquoted government securities. Next, investments in unquoted mutual funds. Then commercial paper. Now this is the another important point. What is commercial paper, sir? It is a short-term debt or instruments issued by large banks. Issued by large banks. Okay. So this is why they generally issued, sir, short-term receivables. These are short-term receivable to meet short-term obligations. Commercial papers are those banks which are issuing commercial banks, commercial papers is a short-term receipts for them, for people who are issuing it, banks who are issuing it, and with which they are making payment for short-term obligations, short-term commitments. Now, here the important thing, how you will be going to value. That is what we are seeing. How you will be valuing. Unquoted equity shares. Cost price or breakup value here. Whichever is lower. Whichever is lower. In one of our classes, we have seen about the breakup value. We have learned. Am I right? We have learned breakup value is equity capital plus reserves minus intangible assets by number of equity shares of the investee company is called as break value. So for unquoted equity shares, valuation is, we have written a valuation. Valuation is, this is also you can write valuation. This is simple. Cost or market value, whichever is lower for valuation quoted current investment. This I have already told you. Unquoted equity shares, cost price or breakup value, whichever is lower. Breakup value I learned in the previous class. Unquoted preference shares. Here unquoted preference shares is talking about cost or face value, whichever is lower. Whichever is lower. Sir, cost or face value, whichever is lower. This also you learned in the last class, definition part. Do you remember face value? Fair value means, sorry, fair value. Fair value, not face value, it is, sorry, it is face value only, not fair value. Sorry, I thought a fair value you learned, this is face value. Cost price or face value means nominal value, whichever is lower. Then next, excuse me, investments in unquoted government securities. Investments in unquoted government securities or government guaranteed bonds shall be valued at carrying cost. Carrying cost, clear? Here cost or face value, whichever is lower. Unquoted equity shares, cost price or breakup value, whichever is lower. This is for accounting for investment, for recording it in the financial statements. Next, investments in units of mutual funds. Unquoted. Investments units of mutual fund shall be valued at market rate. Market rate. Or if such market rates are not available, at the net asset value declared by the mutual fund in respect of each particular scheme. Market value. If market value not available, market rate rather, market rate not available, market rate not available, net assets value declared by mutual fund in respect of each particular scheme. So first you should remember market rate. If market rate is not available, net assets, declared net assets valued, declared by mutual fund in net asset value, not valued, net asset value declared by mutual fund in respect of each particular scheme. In respect of each particular scheme. Okay. So now commercial paper. Here I am writing commercial paper. Investment unquoted mutual funds market rate. Okay. Commercial papers shall be valued at carrying cost. Carrying cost. Closing balance, simple words. Carrying cost means closing balance. This is how you have to classify. These all are current investments. Clear to all of you? We talk about current investment. Current investments we got categories as quoted. Shall I make it as A? Quoted current investments, cost or market value, whichever is lower. What is quoted current investment? Equity shares, preference shares, debentures, bond, government securities, including treasury bills and others. Government securities including treasury bills and others. Unquoted equity shares. Next one. Unquoted equity shares. Cost price or breakup value, whichever is lower. C. Unquoted preference shares, cost or face value, whichever is lower. Investments in unquoted government securities, carrying cost. Next, investments in unquoted mutual funds, market rate. If market rate is not available, net assets. Okay, this is how we have to value we have to do accounting for current investments. Now, next, B. B. Long-term investment. Whatever you have learned in accounting standard 13, same is accounting standard 13 issued by ICA, same thing we follow. Long-term investment. Over a period of time, you need to synchronize these things, what you are learning group 1 and how far the accounting standards are applicable. Same thing. You know that what is accounting long-term investment? I told you, we have learned at cost price, unless there is a permanent diminution in the value. We have learned that. So long-term investment. What is long-term investment? It is an investment other than current investment is called as long-term investment. Other than current investment is long-term. How it will be valued, sir? Accordance with valuation. According to AS 13. Issued by ICAI. Clear? So this is completed. What we have learned, accounting AS 13 issued by ICAI. We have learned that long-term investment, unless there is a permanent decrease in the value, carrying amount is cost price, that we have learned in long-term investments. Okay, my dear friends. So this is about today's class. We have learned about accounting for investments, and after that, accounting for investments, We'll come back to this. This has been completed. The entire theory stuff I've explained here. This is important now. Asset classification. Asset classification. Asset classification. Here you should understand every non-banking financial company shall classify all form of credits, means whatever the advances made by them, and it is an asset for non-banking financial company, so they will be classifying that into 4 categories: standard assets, substandard assets, doubtful assets, loss assets. This also we have learned in advances topic in bank accounts. So every NBFC, non-banking financial company, shall classify all forms of credit facility given by them. It means in the following 4 categories. Categories, or you can say classes. Number 1, standard asset. Number 2, substandard asset. Number 3, doubtful asset. Number 4, loss asset. So let us begin with the first, what is standard asset. If you want, you can make a note. This I wish to dictate. So you can first let me orally explain, then I'll give a note on that. Point number 1, first, standard asset. Standard asset means an asset in respect of which no default in repayment of principal or payment of interest is perceived, and which does not disclose any problem nor carry more than normal risk attached to business, is called as standard asset. So normal risk, but it does not pose any problem, can be called as standard asset. You can make a note on this. Standard asset. Standard asset means, you can take a pen and you can copy down. Standard asset means an asset in respect of which no default in repayment of principal, that is principal amount, or payment of interest, is perceived and which does not disclose any problem and which does not disclose any problem nor carry more than normal risk, nor carry more than normal risk attached to the business. Attached to the business is called as standard asset. Now this is important. Substandard asset. Substandard asset. For substandard asset, we got the Reserve Bank directions 2016. They have classified into two categories: NBFC, systemically important, non-deposit taking company, and deposit taking company. So substandard asset classification, they have divided two parts. One is, simple words, systemically important non-deposit taking company and deposit taking company as per Reserve Bank of India. The other category is non-systemically important non-deposit taking company. So we got non-deposit income, two categories: systemically important, non-systemically or non-systematically important. So first category, what they have done, non-deposit, systematically important, and deposit taking company they have added. The second category, non-systemically important, non-deposit taking company. So in these two categories, substandard asset means an asset has been classified as NPA for a period not exceeding 12 months. Simple words. For doing the problem part, you can expect problems on this category. This you can expect problem. Today we will be working out on this. Problems you can expect. Most of the problems are this classification of assets and provision on these assets. Okay, substandard asset. As per NBFC, systemically important. I think you know that by this time number of times we have seen. Non-deposit taking company and deposit taking company Reserve Bank directions. Reserve Bank directions. (2016). Here substandard asset means an asset has been classified as NPA for a period not exceeding 12 months. Not exceeding 12 months. Substandard asset means an asset has been classified These things you should remember. Has been classified as NPA, non-performing asset, for a period not exceeding for a period not exceeding 12 months. Substandard asset means an asset has been classified as NPA for a period not exceeding 12 months. Okay. And you also got second point, but that is just for theory part. Just I'll orally read it. No need to copy it down. This is important for you. 12 months. 12 months period is for what? As per NBFC, systemically important non-deposit taking company. Substandard asset means asset has been classified as NPA for a period not exceeding 12 months. And there you also got one more point. An asset where the terms of agreement regarding interest and or principal have been renegotiated or rescheduled. Reschedule means when you are unable to make a payment, you are asking the lender to reschedule it, a payment after commencement of operation until the expiry of 1 year of satisfactory performance of under the renegotiated or rescheduled terms. Unless 1 year rescheduled plan, you wait for 1 year. Unless is saying until, I repeat once again, an asset where the terms of agreement regarding interest and or principal have been renegotiated or rescheduled after commencement of operation until the expiry of 1 year of satisfactory performance under negotiated. Suppose today I went for renegotiation. 1 year period I have to wait. Up to 1 year period I still be considering as a substandard asset. When I can't consider substandard, if in this 1 year the payment is satisfactory, then it will not be substandard asset. Otherwise it can be taken as substandard asset. That is the meaning. So simple words, overall you can remember from the examination point of view, substandard asset means an asset has been classified as NPA for a period not exceeding 12 months. Even you are going for restructuring, reorganizing, you have to wait for 12 months. Still the 12 months period, still even though you went for restructuring, you will be observing them. You will be waiting for 1 year period. You are giving chance for them. That 1 year observation is also considered substandard asset. When you can't call it substandard, when after completion of 1 year, if you know that the performance, their payment is satisfactory, performance is satisfactory, then you cannot consider substandard. But even you go for renegotiation, 12 months period is the basis again, waiting to look at their performance, satisfactory performance. So you can call them a substandard asset. So now systemically important non-deposit taking company and deposit taking company. Substandard asset means asset has been classified as NPA for a period of not exceeding 12 months. The second point, B. Only difference for B, 18 months, that's it. 18 months for what? Non-banking finance company, non-systemically important, non-deposit taking company. 12 months will become 18 months to call them as a substandard. So, NBFC non-systemically important non-deposit taking company. Reserve Bank directions. Reserve Bank directions 2016. Substandard asset means an asset has been classified as NPA, non-performing asset, for a period not exceeding 18 months. Not exceeding 18 months. Clear? So this is about these 2 points. For NBC SI, non-deposit taking company, and NBFC, deposit taking company, not exceeding 12 months is substandard. There, not exceeding 18 months is, that is in other case. NBFC, non-systemically important, non-deposit taking company. It is bit confusing. You need to make a note, you need to practice it. As a student, you are supposed to remember these things. It's not an issue at all, but this is problems point of view. You can expect a short question on this. Then next one. Third category, doubtful assets. Again, doubtful asset, you have to go for 2 categories classification. NBFC, ND, SI, and deposit company. Other part, NBFC, ND, non-systemically important. A term loan, or B, a lease asset, or C, hire purchase asset, or D, any other asset which remains substandard for a period not exceeding 12 months. So, NBFC, a term loan or lease asset or hire purchase asset, any other asset which remains a substandard asset for a period of not exceeding 12 months can be called as, tell me, doubtful asset. Can be called as doubtful asset. Okay, so that I am writing here. This doubtful asset, for you to understand, for this one is repetition. What I do, NBFC, ND, systemically important and deposit company. Here NBFC, non-deposit, NSI, that is NSI means non-systemically important. Okay. Here what is common, sir? A. For both these things, doubtful asset means term loan. This is common point for both these things. Term loan or a lease asset or a hire purchase asset. A hire purchase asset. or any other asset. Any other asset which remains substandard asset. Substandard asset for a period not exceeding 12 months. Not exceeding 12 months. Okay. Doubtful asset means a term loan or a lease asset or a hire purchase asset or any other asset which remains. Okay, I'll do one thing. Which remains substandard asset here. Now left side, this one. NBFC NBFC, ND, SI, which remains substandard asset. Any other asset remains substandard asset for a period not exceeding 12 months. Here NBFC, ND, non-systemically important, for a period which remains substandard asset for a period not exceeding 18 months. The difference is here for a period exceeding, sorry, for a period not it's for a period exceeding, sorry, not exceeding. For a period exceeding how many months, tell me? 18 months is called as doubtful debts. A substandard asset for a period exceeding 12 months, for a period exceeding 18 months. I repeat once again, I have given doubtful asset NBFC, NDSI and NBFC deposit company, NBFC, ND, NSI, non-systematically important. Doubtful assets means term loan, lease asset or a hire purchase asset or any other asset. This is common for both here. Both. This is common for both. Which remains substandard asset for a period exceeding 12 months, for a period exceeding 8 months is called as NBFC, non-deposit, non-systematically important. This has been given here also, you can see. Exceeding 12 months. Here, any other asset which remains substandard for a period exceeding 18 months. That is what I have given. Or if you are having clarity, you can look into this also. Doubtful asset, the same thing I have given there. Non-banking, non-systematically important, non-deposit take company. term loan, lease asset, hire purchase. Any other asset which remains substandard asset for a period exceeding 18 months. Or else you can copy down this. And this is non-banking, systematically important, non-deposit taking company, deposit taking company. Any other asset which remains substandard asset for a period exceeding 12 months. Here for a period exceeding 18 months. Then next last asset, I think here I can, instead of writing here I can show. An asset which has been identified as a loss asset by NBFC or internal or external auditor or by Reserve Bank during the inspection of the NBFC to the extent is not written off by NBFC. Loss asset has been identified by whom? Internal or external auditor to the extent it is not written off by NBFC. An asset which is adversely affected by potential threat of non-recoverability due to either erosion in the value of security or non-availability of security or due to any fraudulent act or omission on the part of the borrower, then that also can be called as loss asset. The class of assets referred to above shall not be upgraded merely as a result of rescheduling unless it satisfies the condition required for the upgradation. Means when you are going for rescheduling, restructuring, just simply, but since you are going for restructuring or what is it called as reorganizing, okay, so you can't say that simply rescheduling or reorganization, whatever it may be, you can't say that it is not a loss asset, it is not a doubtful asset. You have to wait for, we have to wait for 1 year, even the rescheduling, restructuring, reorganizing, whatever the name you call them as, you have to observe for 1 more year. For that 1 more period, you can't change. You can't change loss asset to doubtful asset. Doubtful asset you can't change to substandard asset. Okay, this is all about the theory part. The next one, non-performing asset. Okay, non-performing asset here. This I am not writing anything. We have seen non-performing. What is non-performing asset? An asset in respect of which interest has remained overdue for a period of 6 months. A term loan includes of unpaid interest when the installment is overdue for a period of 6 months or more on which interest amount remained overdue for a 6 months or more. Simple words, an asset in respect of which interest has remained overdue for a period of 6 months or a term loan includes unpaid interest when the installment is due overdue for a period of 6 months. It is non-performing asset. Or a demand or a call loan which remained overdue for a period of 6 months or more than date of demand or call. Demand means you need to make a payment, which interest amount remained overdue for 6 months or more. In this case, non-performing asset more than 6 months. A bill which remains overdue for a period of 6 months or more. The interest in respect of a debt, the income on receivables under the head, other current assets in the nature of short-term loans, advances, overdue for a period of 6 months. Even short-term loans advance also overdue for a period of 6 months. Even we have learned in company accounts, debtors is more than 6 months old, we need to recognize, no? We have to show separately as a disclosure. So this is all 6 months or more. Any dues on account of sale of assets or services rendered or reimbursement of expense incurred which remained overdue for a period of. So by selling the assets or services rendered, reimbursement of expenses. When you are selling the asset on behalf of the buyer, you might incur some expenses. Those expenses you have to get back. And that you are unable to get those expenses which are supposed to be reimbursed by the borrower for selling these assets or services that is rendered. So those expenses has to be reimbursed, and if those expenses which has been incurred at the time of sale of assets or services which remained overdue for a period of 6 months or more is also called as non-performing assets. What is criteria? Common point A, B, C, D, E. More than 6 months. Simple. Any amount which is due for more than 6 months. As per non-banking financial company, systemically important non-depositing company and depositing company, Reserve Bank Direction 2016, the above 6 months criteria for assets covered under A to F is 3 months. So for systemically important non-depositing company, A to F 3 months. But however, as per non-banking financial company, non-systemically important non-depositing company, criteria 6 months or more. So here A, B, C, D, E For A, B, C, D, E up to E, non-banking financial company, non-systemically important, non-deposit 6 months. Systemically important, non-deposit 3 months, and deposit 3 months. That's it. The lease, rental, hire purchase installment which has become overdue 3 months. For non-systemically important 12 months. Okay. In respect of loans, advance, other credit facilities, including bills purchase discounted, balance outstanding under the credit facility made available to the same borrower where any of the above credit facility becomes non-performing asset, provide that in case of lease and hire purchase transaction, a non-banking financial may classify each such account on the basis of its record recovery. Simple words. Well, let me finish off this. Non-systemically important non-deposit 6 months. Systemically important non-deposit company and deposit company 3 months. More than 3 months NPA, less and more than 6 months NPA in case non-systemically important non-deposit company. Okay. Now coming back to these provisions. We'll be discussing on provisions now. Just a minute, my dear friends. You have to provide. You have to go for provisions of these on these assets. What we have learned in banking also, standard asset, substandard asset, doubtful asset, loss asset. The same procedure we have to follow. The provisioning requirement as given below shall apply to every NBFC except microfinancial institution MIFIs. Every NBFC shall, after taking into account the time lag between account becoming non-performing, its recognition as such, the relation of security and the erosion over time and the value of security charge, make provision against substandard asset, doubtful assets and loss assets provided hereunder. Loans and advances, other credit facilities including bills purchased and discounted. This is one category. Second category, lease and hire purchase. So for the time being we are having how many categories? 2 categories, my dear friends. This is important from examination point of view. I think I am not dictating it is enough. You can just pay attention. You can remember. Loss assets. I think I started from bottom. Actually we have started with standard asset, substandard asset, doubtful loss. But he is starting from loss asset. The entire asset shall be written off if assets are permitted to remain in books for any reason 100%. Loss asset provision is 100%. Doubtful 100% provision to the extent which the advance is not covered by the realizable value of the security. So realizable value of security is 80,000, whereas asset value, the amount which is due is 1 lakh. Tell me, realizable value of security is not covered, then doubtful assets 100% provision you should calculate. In addition to item A above, depending upon the period for which asset has remained doubtful, provision to the extent 20% to 50% of secured portion. This is unsecured portion. Unsecured portion 100. Secured portion is between 20 to 50%. That is, estimate realizable value of the outstanding shall be made on the following basis. Period for which the asset has been considered as a doubtful. Up to 1 year 20%, 1 to 3 years 30%, more than 3 years 50%. Substandard asset, a general provision of 10% of total outstanding shall be made. Standard asset, this also we have learned in bank accounts, you have taken 0.40%. 0.40%, simple words for you to remember, 0.40% for NBFC, systemically important, non-deposit and depositing company 0.40%. Non-systemically important, non-depositing company 0.25%. Here it has been given. We can see 0.25%. Here 0.40%. And NBFC, systemically important, non-depositing company and depositing company. Here non Systemically important, non-depositing company 0.25%. Okay, these are the 4 points you should be looking into it. So this is all the theory stuff we have seen so far. Okay, my dear friends. So fresh, you just go through it, and these things we apply in the next class. We work out problems. In 2 more classes time, I shall be able to finish off this chapter. For the time being, you go through it. You got the material. I have explained whichever is convenient. Ultimately, you should go and you should have a thought processing on this. Now, one thing I wish to tell you, today's class, what we have learned so far, we have started with first accounting for investment. We have started current investment, we have learned valuation, we have learned long term investment and valuation, we have learned asset classification, standard, substandard, doubtful, loss asset. In that we have learned about what is standard asset. Standard asset I have given dictation, substandard, and this is very important, with red color mark I have written. How you remember? It's you need to revise it 2 to 3 times. Bank accounts 2 to 3 times you have to practice minimum. Whatever you learn, then you should go for practice questions. And non-banking, these all are scoring options, only remembering. I have told you memory plays a significant role. So this topic is also same thing. B with different color I have given. Doubtful assets, just common points I have written in the middle, and period exceeding 12 months and exceeding 18 months. Substandard asset will become doubtful if the period is for NBFC, ND, systemically important, and deposit company 12 months, non-systemically important, non-deposit 18 months. Okay, so this is all about today's class. I hope you got some clarity. So tomorrow's class we work out, in the next class we work out problems part on this, right? Thank you. Have a nice day. God bless you all.